Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this Tuesday night. Tonight, the humanitarian crisis is deepening inside Gaza, with President Biden saying efforts to bring aid to civilians are not moving fast enough. Just today, 8 trucks carrying food, water, and medicine were allowed across the border, the first in 24 hours, but it's not nearly enough to meet demand. Hundreds of thousands of Israeli troops are positioned along the border ahead of an anticipated ground invasion that appears to be on hold for the moment in order to buy time for hostage negotiations. Israel has increased the barrage of airstrikes, with the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry saying it suffered its single deadliest day of the war. Secretary of State Antony Blinken today warned Iran that the U.S. would respond if they or their proxies use the conflict to attack Americans. This as the Pentagon announced that Iranian-backed militias have targeted U.S. troops in the Middle East at least 13 times in the past week with rocket and drone attacks. And we learned just a short time ago at least 24 U.S. service members were hurt. We have team coverage, and CBS's Charlie D'Agata will start us off from Tel Aviv. Good evening, Charlie.
Good evening to you, Nora. Despite an increase in the number of attacks on both sides of this fight today, another humanitarian convoy has rolled into Gaza, the Palestinian Red Crescent announcing that they've received another 8 trucks of aid, but no fuel, while concern grows for civilians and hostages alike. Yocheved Lifshitz and Norah Cooper only landed here in Tel Aviv from Egypt in the early hours. Yet this morning, a smiling 85-year-old Lifshitz was ready to share her story, saying, "I went through hell," describing how Hamas kidnappers draped her over a motorcycle. "I was lying on my side with my legs here and my body there," she said, "and a group of guys hit me with sticks on the way." She said militants took away her watch and jewelry as she was led down a vast network of tunnels she said looked like a spider web. But asked why she shook the hand of a Hamas gunman when she was set free, she said her captors treated her with softness and supplied all our needs. Lifshitz also criticized Israeli Defense Forces for not doing more to pick up the threat from Gaza before militants launched their attack. Her grandson told CBS News she came back walking and waving to everyone.
We've been expecting the worst, and as always, she just proved us that she can survive everything.
Lifshitz and Cooper's husbands are still believed to be held by Hamas, along with at least 220 more hostages, according to Israeli officials. The Israeli Air Force dropped leaflets over Gaza today asking residents to reveal the whereabouts of those hostages in exchange for a reward. This amid some of the Israeli military's heaviest bombardment yet in Gaza, the IDF claiming more than 400 targets were struck over the past day, including anti-tank missile launchers and observation posts, pushing the death toll in Gaza to nearly 6,000, according to Hamas health officials. On the Israeli side of the border, the outbreak of violence has triggered a mass exodus, hundreds of thousands displaced. We visited Netivot, which has become a new frontline town. This security camera hub is staffed 24/7 by a civilian workforce on the lookout for the next rocket or terrorist gunman.
On the horizon, you can see Gaza City.
Orly Massas from Philadelphia is an emergency dispatcher who keeps watch over the city and its remaining residents.
People are terrified.
They're terrified.
Terrified. People lost their confidence. We know friends, best friends, that was murdered.
Even as Hamas steps up its rocket attacks in the past 24 hours, they're still trying to cross into Israel. Israeli Defense Forces say commandos spotted a Hamas terror cell trying to enter the sea from a tunnel today. An unspecified number of terrorists were killed. Nora?
Charlie D'Agata, thank you.